Hey Ashton, thank you for coming, man.
Sure,
I
for
was
sure.
I was excited after we did that networking event,
Definitely, man.
and I'm still kind of like in awe because like you're so young and like you're still like chasing. I don't know what you're chasing, but I
Yeah,
mean that's
we
what
gonna
we're here
find
for.
out. We gonna
Yeah,
find out today.
exactly. So, tell me, do you always put yourself in like those situations? Like at 17, I wasn't thinking about putting myself in those.
So recently, within the past 3 years, really since 2020, has been my emergence of becoming a better man, becoming an entrepreneur, becoming business minded. And
Okay.
so lately, I've just been putting myself in circles where I can evolve and. I'm not the smartest in the room. You see, I want to be in rooms where I know I'm not the smartest. I know I can be a learner in that sense. So, yeah, man, that was my second one, and I enjoyed it. I met a lot of good people.
Yeah.
And, that's just one for many.
What inspired that feeling?
Just the feeling of having a legacy.
Okay.
Just the knowing that being an entrepreneur is a guaranteed way to make wealth.
Uh-huh.
And just having that knowing is what driven me to be that.
So like your parents didn't do anything or like seeing them inspire you at all?
So yeah, my mom, she had two businesses. She had like a kids place, because she wanted to do something for the kids, and she also had a restaurant. And so
Okay.
seeing that at a young age gave me like this sense that is realistic. And also one of my uncles, he is a real estate and also just a serial entrepreneur. So seeing that also helped make it not seem, what's the word, like impossible.
Okay.
It's realistic.
Yeah, and it's a little easier whenever you have people in your circle supporting that, right?
Definitely.
So like it's definitely the way to go if you have the right mindset, though, I think.
Definitely. It's all about mindset. I mean, life is mindset. If you can have a fixed or growth mindset, you can have I don't know if I can accomplish this, or I don't know if I can accomplish this, but I'm still going to try.
Okay.
I'm still going to do it.
Okay.
And
Is there certain things you inspire yourself from, like books or like podcasts that you listen to?
Definitely. Some podcasts is the Earn Your Leisure podcast with Troy Millens and Rashad Bilal. I love that one.
Okay. Are they local?
Nah, I think they're based in New York. Yeah, they're based in New York. And some books, Think and Grow Rich, of course, by Napoleon Hill.
Oh,
Richest
okay.
Man in Babylon by George S. Clausen. Rich Dad Poor Dad, by Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah, man. Just I think at a certain point in time, you kind of just learn as you go. But it's also very fundamental to get the fundamentals, by reading books such as Think and Grow Rich, audio books, just different little spurts of knowledge here and there.
Yeah.
And just conversating with people.
Do you have the same people around you like since you're in high school? So like obviously our minds are all over the place. Yeah. So like how do you put yourself there, or how do you continue to be like this?
I think the who I am now, it made me be a dualistic person, and I see that as a skill. Being dualistic, you're able to converse with people who aren't on that mindset or on the level that you're on, and not seem egotistical. So I'm able to put myself around people that necessarily aren't on my path, and we still kick it, have a good time. I'm not somebody that likes to belittle people, because I feel as if I can learn from anybody and everybody.
That's a great way to see it, because I think that even anybody that doesn't really know more than you can still add value in a way if you're willing to listen.
Definitely.
So that's a great asset to have. And like, what do you aspire to be then? What are you currently doing?
So currently for business, I do web design. I have a podcast that I'm doing with my brother Kyle that we're currently building and trying to grow. Okay. And I've also done previous businesses. I've done clothing. I tried to sell lip balm too.
Lip balm?
Yeah, I did that for about like 2 weeks, and then I stopped.
Why'd you stop?
Cause I actually ran out of supply. So I was selling it, so it was good.
Okay.
But then I didn't re-up, and then, that was that. But I might actually get back into it, because it was pretty fun, because I made it myself. I made the lip balm myself. And another thing is, I didn't buy the labels. So I didn't, how lip balms, and they actually have the labels of the brands and stuff. I didn't buy that yet. So after I sold out, I was like, I'm going to have to buy more. And then plus that, and then I was like, Mom, do I really want to take it that far?
Yeah.
I didn't, so I didn't do that.
But who did you sell to?
Honestly, I was selling to kids at my high school. So I was selling to a couple of females, couple of guys, because it was like just a natural lip balm. It had like 3 ingredients. It had honey, beeswax, coconut oil, and argan oil. So 4 ingredients. You know, it's good for actually making sure the lips are moisturized and giving it nutrients to stay, you know, healthy too.
Yeah, because I feel like all the other lip balms, I put it on and it just keeps on drying it up.
Because it's taking that moisture out your lips, man. So I said because that's the whole thing with business, you know, seeing a need and giving a solution. And so I said I saw a need for a natural, actual working lip balm, and I said, okay, I can offer a solution, and I did that.
Yeah, and like for example, it is kind of expensive, but I think marketing wise, looking at it from a marketing perspective, it's important to label it, because then next time they know, oh, it's, I don't know, Ashton's lip balm.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have to remember, like, who is that again? No, you just see it and they'll know.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's pretty unique. Because you know what I use for like lip balm, because Vapor Rub. Vapor Rub somehow keeps your lips moist, and anybody listening, Vapor Rub is the way to go. If not, you know, because I feel like all the other ones kind of like dry out your lips. But man, that's cool then.
Yeah,
like,
if I make some more, I'm gonna give you some for sure.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Because like I feel like my lips are always like dry, especially like whenever it starts getting cold.
Right.
Dude, I'm like, it's so embarrassing.
Bro, when I forget my lip balm at the crib, man, that'd be the worst.
Or like the other thing would be like kind of like sometimes I walk out and I forget to put lotion on my legs.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro.
I don't even want to go outside.
Yeah.
I hope nobody sees me.
And plus, like my skin is just like naturally dry, so
yeah.
It's not my fault that I scratch and that shit like is actually.
Man, like, yo, sometimes genetics get in the way.
Oh yeah,
Man.
yeah. I feel like that's one of our like every culture has its thing, and like for me, I feel like, well, Hispanic wise, it's like my lips are chappy, and then sometimes my knees are ashy. I'm like, bro,
that's all people too, man. We known for ash, yo. Ash. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I tell you, bro, if I get out the shower and I don't put lotion on, bro, I'm gonna be looking like Snow White.
Dang, dude. Yeah, and I remember when I was in high school, like, yeah, we would just go back and forth with that. It was hilarious, though. Like, definitely, man. Yeah. So, like, for example, like, so what fun do you have in high school? Like, what are you doing? Like, do you do any sports?
Oh yeah, so I tried for track.
Okay.
I did track previous years, but I didn't do it this year. And then I also like the sport Muay Thai. And so, yeah, I'm very interested into the martial arts and combat sports.
Okay, why? How come?
I think, the body is just a tool. And I'm the type of person where I want to exercise. If I got to be in this vehicle, I might as well exercise it and see it at its fullest capability, you know? And with Muay Thai, you use your fists, you use your legs, your elbows. You know what I mean? You use pretty much all parts of your body for self-defense.
Okay, I didn't know how Muay Thai worked. I tried karate for like a year, but that shit got expensive. So I was like,
and with karate, the other person got to know karate.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's as practical as like boxing or Muay Thai.
Okay.
For me personally, sorry for my karate kids out there.
No, because I remember they used to make us do some drills. Like the only thing that really I think could help is a kick, like a side kick, or maybe like the roundhouse kick. And all that. The roundhouse kick. But like honestly, punching wise, you really just have a defense.
Exactly, and that's why I think boxing and Muay Thai come into play, because you're gonna learn how to defense, and your defense can beat offense at the same time, depending on how you counter it.
Oh, okay, yeah. And I wanted to try boxing, just that, like, every single time I used to hit the bag, my shoulder, like used to hurt. Yeah,
man. So that's another thing with Muay Thai and just boxing. It's a full body workout. You're constantly, because you don't want to stand straight up. You want to squat. So you're engaging your legs. Of course, you're engaging your back and your shoulders. You're engaging your waist so you can get a proper torque on your kick.
Okay.
It's a full body workout, man. And when you get right, you get lethal. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, because it's surprising what you can do with the body, and it doesn't really matter what size you are. Because I've seen a 5-foot guy wrestler that was like a state champion down in South Carolina when I used to live there, and he used to be like this 6'2" guy that we used to weigh like twice as him, and put him in a lock. Like so easily. Like I don't even want to touch that guy, and I'm like, dang, like wrestling is like actually that.
Yo, it's serious. Like Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You know, like grappling, yo, that's serious. Like once you get on the ground, it's over. If you find somebody that knows Brazilian jiu-jitsu and that's their thing, it's over at that point.
Dude, it's just insane what the body can do.
Definitely, man. And then with its proper dedication, I mean, Bruce Lee, I think that's the greatest example of like modern times of just what the body can do. And when you put that dedication, you know, that 3-inch punch he was able to do.
You think that's real?
I think so. I think he's like that.
I kind of want to believe it because back then, faking a lot of things I think would be a lot harder. Mm-hmm. But it did exist too.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
But I do see Bruce Lee as kind of like, I don't know if it's a fact, but he trained every muscle in his body, something like that.
So I think he had like 0% body fat or like close to it. And it would mean like all his body was just muscle. So like, no, he was lean. And yo, crazy, he was like 5'7". He was like 5'7", 145 pounds.
145 pounds?
Yes. 5'7", 145 pounds at the time of his passing.
And it's just insane that he could just beat up anyone.
Anybody, bro. Like, you couldn't touch Bruce Lee. You couldn't touch Bruce Lee, man.
Did you see? I like watching his videos on his kicks. Mm-hmm. You can't even see that motherfucker.
Yo, and then I can just imagine. That's like a sword coming at you, man. Like a bat.
I watched videos on how he hits that big bag. I don't know how many kilos it is.
I think it was like 300 something pounds, man. Cause he said the little ones just weren't. He couldn't do nothing with it.
And then he used to fill them up with metal, I think, too, right?
Yeah, and then he had this one tool where it was like a pull-up bar. So he did a lot of resistance training. So he had like a bar to the ground to do like curl-ups.
Yeah.
And he just tried to pull it up and like pull it, but you couldn't. And he just used to train that and just train that. Train his legs and doing like the dragon pose. I can't remember how you do it, but man was a beast, man. Yeah,
and his body just like you wouldn't even notice it. Like he was so skinny, but he was really defined though too. He's insane. It's kind of like whenever you see a farmer, you know how they say farmer strength.
Yeah,
dude, I got a guy over here working for me that I'm telling you, he just lifts like literally anything and like. Any boulder or anything like that, I'm like, I can't even fucking get it off the ground. But he's got the strength to where he grips it and like just pulls it up.
What?
Yeah, so it's like you can really make the body do some insane shit.
That's what I'm trying to be in life. You know for real? I mean? Yeah, that's one of my main goals in life, just to be like that, like strong but like not overly bulky. You know what I mean? Still lean, but lethal. You know.
Yeah, I can see that though. You just have to train harder.
Definitely, man. Dedication.
Yeah. So what other businesses did you like? What are you other doing then? Like then your lip balm failed. Mm-hmm. I used to sell Takis and at the school hallways, but you know how kind of like whenever you sell stuff.
Yeah, the administration beyond.
Yeah.
No, that's a fact. So other businesses. So one thing I try not to do too much at one time. So, like, when I started a business, I kind of dedicated and directed my attention to that.
Okay.
And so, right now, the main business that I got is web design. But I already got some more brewing in my head, of course. You know, eventually, when I step into the investor realm, I want to be an avid investor into, like, the stock market, into real estate, you know, crypto. Because I still think crypto is going to go right, you know.
Why do you think that?
Because the world that we living in is so digital. You know, it's only makes sense for it to go to crypto. You know, even with the devaluation of the dollar and, you know, the expansion of AI and just how everything is online. I mean, on my podcast with me and my brother Kyle, we were just talking how you can really live on technology completely. You can order food. You can communicate with people. You can get your work done. You can pay your bills.
But what if the internet falls, though? Like the World Wide Web ceases to exist.
I think that's a possibility. However, I just don't think. I think internet is such an asset that it's slim to chance that would happen though.
I don't know, cause I don't know how I feel about it. Kind of like we're going to crypto, cause I mean, obviously you do see like a lot of people got rich off that, so it's credible. Like someone's gonna get rich off it, but it's like a matter of time, like of when, where, and stuff like that. Cause I still want to believe that the dollar will exist here from 50 years from now, but
I mean, personally, I wish it wouldn't go to crypto. I wish we still use cash. I wish cash was like the main way of, transitioning. Because I just think that that's a superior method. But, that's just, with the times change, I mean, because at one point you ask somebody years back, you say, hey, yo, we use cards now. Like, huh? No way. We were going to use cash mostly all the time. But now most people use cards.
And I think, like, I look at it from a tax standpoint, though. I was looking like at a podcast, and it was saying how we're leaning towards digital, like just like you said, like we're all cards, and if we do get to a point of only digital, the IRS will tax every single little bit and know exactly what type of transaction you're doing, to where you're not even going to be able to play with the numbers no more.
Definitely. And I also think that's one of the reasons why I want to go digital, just more control, because we already got social media apps that are controlling us inevitably, Instagram, Instagram,
I think if you let it, though.
Definitely. It can be definitely a tool for business, definitely a tool for growth, but for the majority of the population, I think it's a tool for distraction and destruction.
Because I was reading this book by Grant Cardone. It was like Sell or Be Sold. He was like, kind of look at your day, how many hours you spend on your phone. Let's say you spend 8 hours a day. Multiply that by 7, that's 56. In a month, it's about I'm gonna look dumb if I don't do the right math. 224. Let's just round it up to 250 hours, right? A month you're spending on your phone. Multiply that by $20, you're losing $5,000 a month. $60,000 in a year.
Gosh.
So like whenever you look at that, it's like
it puts a lot in perspective.
Yeah, and I started looking at my life like that, because I like social media. Like I love it. Like
it's entertaining for sure. No question.
TikTok, it's YouTube Shorts. It's
not a YouTube Shorts.
Dude, but sometimes I just realize, I'm like, dude, what the hell am I doing?
I swear, bro. Because with me nowadays, I'm very conscious of my actions, and
yeah.
So when I know I'm just scrolling mindlessly, it's like, why am I scrolling mindlessly? And I still persist.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, sometimes you still keep on doing it.
Exactly. And so why do you think that is? Why do you think we still want to do that?
Because it's easy. It's a path of least resistance, duh. Because I feel like everything hard in life, we're losing out on it. Just people just don't want to do it no more. People don't want to work. People don't want to struggle.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, like, kind of like digital makes it a lot easier for everyone. So everybody thinks it's supposed to be easy. Like, that's just kind of like, I'm like, if people don't start understanding how technology is supposed to complement us, but us still do the same things. Yeah. And struggle, and we're human. We can't depend on an algorithm to make us happy. We gotta depend on us.
Because we gotta remember, this is younger than a lot of people. So a lot of people grew up without even the concept of what we're working with right now. And so I think we often go back in time and think people were more primitive, but I think sometimes they might have been more advanced than our current civilization in certain ways.
Dude, definitely right about that point. Yeah.
Like just being naturally joyful, being naturally happy,
I was watching this video also on like how they were spinning on the little, what's that thing that spins?
Hamster wheel?
No, not the hamster wheel. Where a whole bunch of kids used to get on, like, is it like a roulette?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I just don't know the name.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the name of it, but like
the merry-go-round.
Yeah, the let's just call it the merry-go-round. Like, it was just like some kids like making that thing spin, and they were just like hanging on. They were getting hurt, and like that used to be the fun before. Before you used to have to like save your phone number up here.
Yeah, or find a piece of paper real quick.
And those quick actions, that keeping a log of what you do on a day-to-day basis makes your brain stronger.
Definitely. It sharpens you because it forces you to actively engage it. You don't have to actively engage your next thought, especially when you live with the phone right next to you. Matter of fact, I've actually kind of used that thought process this week. Like somebody asked me, what are the benefits of this drink that I was drinking? I was going off rattling, but I was like, you know what? Why tell you when I can look it up? And so I think that's kind of me going backwards a little bit because it's forcing me to not use my brain and just look it up real quick.
That's a good example. Heck yeah. What drink was it?
It was called wheatgrass. And so it's this plant that's, used for like, anti-inflammatory properties, regulating the blood and just giving a lot of nutrients to the body.
Okay. Where'd you get that from?
I got it off this website called Mountain Rose Herbs. It's like a herbal apothecary website because, I think prevention is the proper way of, addressing health. You see what I'm saying? If you prevent the illness, you don't even got to worry about it in the future.
Dude, you are such a thoughtful thinker. Like the only reason I've thought about these things is because I know I've seen kind of how the hospitals work, and I detest it. I literally I haven't stepped a hospital in probably like 10 years.
Yo, I don't remember the last time I used like cough syrup or like anything of that nature because I really just rely on my diet and then herbs for real.
Okay. Is that something like your parents taught you or is you?
No, that's something that I just kind of developed and learned through life.
You think it's a lot better or what? Like, how'd you survive COVID then?
So, honestly, like I said, I really think it's a big part of my diet and just the way I live. It's holistic, though. So, not just what I eat through my mouth, but what I eat through my ears, what I eat through my eyes. What am I feeding my brain? What am I feeding my soul? What am I feeding my heart? Am I feeding my heart love or hatred? Am I feeding my mind intelligent, thought-provoking videos or just strictly entertainment and nothing more? Am I feeding my ears music of light or am I feeding my ears music of darkness and destruction?
You got that from a book.
I'm a right one.
Yeah. Dude, that's good. That's the type of stuff I want to get into. Just that, I don't know. I think my diet's the worst thing like I can really say. Like everything else I try to kind of like
be mindful of.
Yeah, kind of like you said, like learn what you're like eating also like or through your ears or through your eyes. It's something that I've put myself subject to. Like, like how people say they're gonna read books. That was my issue to that. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna read a book, and like LeBron, I read like the first 10 pages. Because it's funny. My brother was telling me that. You ever see LeBron reading like a book?
Yeah. You don't even know what he reading.
Yeah, he's always like on the first pages, and then he changes book.
Oh, I remember this part.
The liar,
man. Yo, stop fretting, LeBron.
Dude, it's hilarious because, but then I put that against myself. I'm like, okay, well, how am I any different? Like I do kind of read like that too, like the first pages, and I've been mindful that if I read 20 pages per day or 30 pages per day, in 10 days I can finish a 300-page book.
I ain't even think about it like that.
It's that easy.
Yeah.
But obviously it's hard to wake up and instantly start reading. But just knowing that, or like, that's what I did this year. It's like, put it on my schedule. Like, if this is a 200-page book or 250 pages, well, let's read 25 pages per day. In 10 days, I'll finish that book.
Yeah.
And put it on my calendar, like, by this date, you'll have to finish this book. And it's helped me. I've read 3 books, full books this year.
Yeah. Did you actually like derive the knowledge and get what the content of the book was? And
that's exactly what my brother was telling me. He's like, are you actually getting the knowledge? And I've read Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone, the greatest salesman in the world. I don't know. His name is I don't know the author's name. I'm not really good with author names, but books, and also the book that you remember that you mentioned. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, by yeah. And what I did though is at the end of it, I wrote a 3-page summary for each book.
Okay, so it came full circle.
Yeah, because I had to go. Like I did read them, and like I try to highlight my books. Like
definitely, you gotta annotate.
You think?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you don't annotate, because I actually credited this to one of my middle school teachers. You know, she said annotation was like talking to the book. You know, if you're highlighting, you got a sticky, you know, you put notes in. It's like you're conversating with the book, with the words, and it helps you actually derive it. So let's say you forget it, but you flip back to the page, having that sticky note, having that highlighting will put you back in that mindset that you had when you first read it.
Because you associate it with a feeling of like, talking to
exactly.
it.
Exactly. It's like, oh, this is what I felt when I read it. And then it puts you back, okay, why did I feel like that? Oh, because it made me think of this. Okay, now compare your present to then. Okay, how has this past thinking can help me in this current now?
Dude, you're right. That is definitely the way. I had not thought about it either because, you know, it's crazy that every single time I talk with somebody about books that's actually interested about talking about books, because not everyone's interested. It was kind of like, and that point is good. And talking about teachers, it's kind of like, I had this thought. It was like, why do teachers say that, okay, let's say we read like a passage or something, right? Mm-hmm. But you know how everybody gets like a different insight?
Yeah. Like everybody gets something different from the book for sure.
How can you say that what's like the main topic or the main...
No, you're right. I never thought about that. Because somebody else's main topic can be completely different from the other person. No, you're right. You're definitely right. I can definitely see that perspective.
So that's where I see kind of like school. I'm like, well, I guess that's where kind of we have to hold ourselves accountable to like, okay, let's do what the teachers are saying, but also hold ourselves accountable to like our own thoughts and not lose ourselves to just like the system.
Yeah, because on that topic, I think that there's a main topic of the book, but then there's a personal main topic saying, well, how can this directly affect me? You know?
And that's what I'm talking about. I feel like most schools, I mean, I don't know. I haven't been to school in a while. But I just remember when I was taking English, it was like the way that I was thinking was like a lot different than what a lot of my peers got. Yeah. Like always.
Of course. Our minds are fathomably different.
But I got it wrong, and then they got it right. So like,
it's a scam. School's a big business. That's all it is, man. Just one big business. I mean, Rockefeller started it because he wanted, new young kids to go into the workforce. It wasn't made for, imaginative thinking, creative thinking. And it was made to shut up, do what you told, follow directions because we can't have you messing up,
And that's the way that the 1% has control over the 99% because even till now, I think it's kind of hard to break that for people because we are so reliant on that, and we're not creative enough to create a learning lifestyle for, like I say, like our children or like our kids. It's really hard.
Definitely.
Because the system's already there, so just why not use it?
Put them in there and let's continue about our business.
Yeah, because like, you know how Elon was going to make his own school and teach his kids like a little bit of everything?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's where it should be. I think, we spent 8 hours at school, and those 8 hours truly feel like a waste, because we aren't learning anything that can be directly applied to our real life. A lot of people talk about the financial literacy part, how schools aren't being taught, but what about the social aspects? Like, we're not being taught how to love our brothers and our sisters. We're not taught how to fight, fight verbally and physically. We're not taught how to, conflict resolution. We're not taught these fundamental things to actually grow and prosper in our society. We're just taught STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And then we have our electives. We have our arts, we have our Spanish, we have our physical education. But we can so much advance this. I think that if philosophy was in school, that would turn the society just upside down and just build a whole new regime of just world-class thinkers.
What type of philosophy though?
I think just
or who have you listened to?
So I like the philosophy. One of my favorite ones is Taoism, by Lao Tzu.
Okay.
So like the book Tao Te Ching. That's
I haven't read it, but tell me about it.
So the Tao Te Ching is pretty much, so the Tao means a way of virtue. It's pretty much, how you said earlier, we take the path of least resistance. This book pretty much speaks on that, but it speaks on it in a grander scale, saying how the path of least resistance is working with nature, working with the universe, you know, and not trying to force things into existence, you know, and just allowing things to be as they are and not trying to impress your will on it and just let it be and experience it, you know.
But does that mean then not experience the hard work, or just experience the hard work as easily as you would experience the easy work because it's all the same?
Yeah, it's all the same. It's all perspective. You know, your hard work might be easy for me, and so calling it hard or easy work is so subjective. Why call it anything but work?
If it's just a way.
Yeah, essentially, it's just work.
Have you listened to Stoicism?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Stoicism too, definitely.
Because conflict resolution was one thing that I had not thought about to teach our society, because but it's a good one to consider, because I feel like we're really reactive people.
Definitely super reactive. We don't respond anymore.
What's the difference though?
I think responding takes thought process. You know, like we're having an intellectual conversation right now, and I'm responding to what you're saying. If I was reacting, every time you said something, I would just spurt something out. You know, and I think society is very reactive. They're just spurting words out. They're just spurting their selves out at people and at things, but they're not taking time to think and actually process the information that they're getting in.
And you know, responding takes time. Like
Exactly.
like people look at pauses like in a conversation as like awkwardness, when in actuality it's like
You're processing and trying to make a useful. You're not trying to waste words.
Yeah. and for a long time, it's kind of like I got into the habit of reacting like in everything in my environment. Like I feel like even when you're walking in the grocery store and someone like bumps into you, it's your decision whether or not you get mad.
Oh no, it's always like, I think it might have been like a Taoist quote that said, you know, there's a boat, right? And let's say you're driving in a boat and another boat hits you. You might instantly get mad, but it could have just been a boat that's wandering, you know. And that's how society is. We're out rowing our boat, and then another boat hits us, and we instantly react. But the boat didn't do anything to you. You chose the anger. You know, emotions come from the inside, not the outside.
I'm gonna have to read that book, the funny thing about books, it was like because I listen to a lot of mentors too, but like I like the old mentors, not the new ones. I like Earl Nightingale, Bob Proctor.
Yeah.
Bob Proctor.
Yep.
You know about him too?
Yeah, Bob
No
Proctor.
wonder that you think like this.
Yeah, Jim Rohn.
I don't like Jim Rohn just because he was in Herbalife too much.
Okay.
I think it's him that's in Herbalife.
I can't remember, but one reason I say him, because he really said something that forever stick with me, is experience life in seasons. You know, sow seeds in the fall. I think it was sow seeds in the fall. You know, tend to the crops in spring, harvest in summer, and prepare for the winter, or something like that. You know, something to that effect. And you know, another thing he said, don't waste your time on minor things when you could be doing major things. You know, like just this perspective of really using your time wisely, and just, you know, when it's time to work, when it's time to play. Don't try to mix the two. Like I like his perspective. I like his thought process.
And working in seasons, how has that helped you?
It puts me in perspective, because I'm not trying to sow seeds in winter. You know, I'm not trying to start new life, new beginnings in a season where I'm supposed to just recoup and, you know, get back together. You know, I'm not trying to harvest in the spring when that's when I'm supposed to be tending to the crops to help it grow. You know, I'm not trying to act out of order.
Dude, and that's exact. And I think though that relates back to kind of how we're feeling around that time, because you know how kind of like summer is coming. I feel like I'm in that phase right now. I'm like, okay, well, I'm preparing, so that when summer comes, it's whenever you have to like basically like business wise, I would say sell, right?
Exactly.
And then whatever you sell, kind of like protect that. And then when winter comes, slow it down. But that's kind of when like depression and like feelings come down like low.
Because everybody cold.
And one thing though, like you minding your health, like have you ever heard kind of like that people feel so shitty during winter because of what they put their body through like the whole summer? How do you expect your body to respond in a good way whenever there's going to be less sun? It's going to be subject to more cold. It's obviously going to feel like shit if you haven't, if all you fed it is beer, snacks, drink, pills, then why do you expect it to feel good during winter?
No, definitely. I think that's the conversation that we need to have, because a lot of people, you know, when I saw this Instagram post and it's like, we feast on Thanksgiving, you know, we eat candy on Halloween, and then we have a big feast on Christmas, and then we wonder why we have colds and flus and all this. We're constantly putting so much into our body that our body isn't even given a chance to recoup and get back right. You know, we're constantly feeding ourselves, you know, bad music or bad visuals. You know, we're constantly feeding ourselves self-destruction. And I think once we really recognize that and we change that about us, then we can actually expect a healthy society.
You are right. I feel like America goes through so many things that it just never stops.
We go to the extreme. America is the land of extreme. You know?
I think it's entitlement too, though. Definitely. Like, it's like no other country does this.
Like, I think America, especially working at Food Line, you know, a grocery store.
Yeah.
I think after scanning like a lot of customers, they just have like an entitlement complex, like where like you're working here and you're supposed to be working here. Like
what do you mean?
Like, for example, right? They don't like to engage. Just throw it on here and just start doing what you're doing. Not like a human interaction. Like, I think we forget we're interacting with another human. Like, for example, right, we have a supervisor, you know, and we might see him as this being that can, you know, stifle our pay, you know, control our hours. But at the end of the day, that's just another man or woman, you know. And I think we kind of put people in different like boxes and perspective when it's like, yo, that's just another human or person. We shouldn't, you know, try to treat them any lesser or any bigger.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, because whenever I used to work in supermarkets, I used to feel like, oh yeah, this guy can just cut me off if he wants to, which he did. He fired me because I didn't end up going. But I never really liked having like someone like have like a dominance or just someone thinking that they have dominance on.
That's terrible. That's a terrible feeling, man. Because it's like, especially not to cut you off.
But I think it also kind of like cuts back to me, kind of like that's the way I'm making myself feel too. Because just like you said in Food Line, it's like people think that because it's a service, it's a service, but if we put some social interaction in that, it's like, I feel like if I talk with the cashier, just simply ask them, hey, how's your day been? Like with enthusiasm, with positivity, the energy you're putting into that person, it's like that energy can like touch 1,000 people throughout the day.
Definitely.
So I think it's all about energies just switching back and forth.
I mean, energy is everything, man. I mean, even this mic right here, even this table, it's just light vibrating at a speed, you know, slower than the air around us. You know, if air was vibrating faster, we see it. You know, so everything is energy. And, you know, the most powerful people in the world are people that can manipulate the energy of others. You know, people that can invoke fear or invoke anger or invoke joy. You know, those type of people are the people that can control the masses.
You're definitely right. Because sometimes I interact with human beings that I feel their energy even before they speak a word.
Because it's an aura, man. Like this energy right here is just peaceful. It's intellectual. You know, but if somebody came in here on 10, you know, we feel it, and the room would shift because it's new energy in the space.
I could feel it. No, for real. I think I've always been like about vibrations and like essentially it's kind of like people that look for their horoscope. It's like I really don't like the horoscope. You know why? Kind of because like it changes your vibration. It's like you could be in a good vibration, but just because you heard something or you saw something that your horoscope said, it goes downhill.
Definitely.
You start expecting a breakup. You start expecting someone to actually steal money from you.
And you could be in a great relationship, in a great position, but you read that little text and now you like all paranoid. You know, I think, so I remember this quote, it said, millionaires don't believe in astrology, but billionaires do. You know, I think astrology is a tool because it gives you a perspective on how your life could play out. Of course, there's more into it, you know, but it definitely can be a means of just assessing yourself, you know, in a perspective, in a way. That's one of my favorite words is just perspective, because, you know, perspective is reality. You know, I could have a astrological perspective where, you know, I'm a Sagittarius, so my sign says philosophical, you know, a seeker of knowledge. And I've adopted that, you know.
Okay.
And there's probably other tendencies that a Sagittarius has that I don't resonate with, of course, you know. But like I said, it's just a perspective. I see myself through a business perspective, you know, giving myself structure, giving myself financial education. You know, I see myself through the perspective of a brother, you know, being a protector and a provider and a loving source of energy for my siblings.
Are you the oldest one?
Yeah, I'm the oldest.
How many siblings do you have?
So I got 3. I got a little sister, another little sister, and then the youngest is my little brother.
What do you fear the most?
Who do I fear the most?
No, what do you fear the most?
What I fear the most? The regret. I fear the concept of regret. You know, regretting my actions, regretting what I have and have not done, you know. And I think regret is in response to doing and not doing. Oh, man, I can't believe I did that. You know, I can't believe I didn't do that. You know, that concept of regret is something that I fear.
I'm kind of like in loss for words because I had not thought about regret. I only thought about regret and kind of like what I didn't do, not what I did do. But now that I think about it, it's like there's regret on the things that I've done too, though. Like, there's just so much dumb shit I've done.
So that's right, man. And I feel that same way. It's like, dang, man, I didn't have to do that. There's no reason I needed to be in that situation. I could have used that time better. And it's also about giving yourself grace, you know, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know, you know. And as you go through life, you might learn more, and then you're like, okay, I should have done better in that situation, and this is what I should have done.
Yeah, life is just so weird because it's kind of like, it's like, okay, you have to live with the regret, but you also have to go past by it. But you got to recognize it.
Yeah, it's a process.
It's like you have to feel everything too, like, because it's like, it's like this. It's kind of like, do you want the cup half full or half empty? But I was reading this thing. It's like one cannot coexist without the other. So it's both. It's like a yin and yang. It's like the good in your life wouldn't exist if there wasn't anything to compare it to.
Definitely. I mean, this is the realm of duality, man. You can't have hot without cold. You can't have good without bad. So in order to have a unified perspective, you have to unite the good and bad. You have to unite the hot and cold. You know, you have to unite those dualistic natures in order to really have a unified perspective in reality.
Yeah, and for a long time I was like, well, I only want to see the good in life, but then come to realize that the bad actually, or like you said, it's perspective. It's like
the so-called
bad, but in essence, it's like the bad makes us grow the most. So is it really bad?
I mean, think about it. If we didn't know what the concept of bad was, when we get exposed to good in life, we wouldn't know what that is. So if we didn't go through hard times, if we didn't go through trials and tribulations, if we didn't go through times of, you know, borderline depression, when we get into seasons of joy and jubilee, we wouldn't even be able to recognize it if we didn't already have that experience of the lesser side or the other side.
You're definitely right about that. It's like, I still keep on thinking about just live your life in seasons. It's like, that got me. That got me because I started thinking, I was like, yeah, you know what? Like during December, kind of like my emotions go down. And like, what's your view, like kind of like on the depression side of it? Like, obviously, like you're in high school. How do you see that, like developing or not developing?
So I've seen people depressed. Like I've seen people that's been down. Man, with me, I'm a person that really feels for people, you know. And so when I see somebody in that state, I really just try my hardest to not necessarily get them out, because that might be their lesson in their life and they might need to go through that in order to be better. But I try to just give them the tools to, you know, handle that mission properly. And how I see it, you know, conspiring and, you know, my age group is just people, man, they just fighting. It's a fight. You know, when you really depressed, you know, it's just a fight, man. You just trying to get to the next day, you know, or to the next breath, depending on how bad it is.
And you know, like, I feel like we're all the same though. Like at the end of the day, we're all the same because I feel like I went through depression too. Mm-hmm. But again, it's just an energy usage, or it's an energy source. It's like, obviously for some people that have chemical imbalances in their brain, I get it. Mm-hmm. But if the will is there, the will like of like you shifting that paradigm of your thoughts is there, there's nothing that can stop that.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I don't want to call it victim mindset, but it's like you're victim to your own thoughts.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. And I think, you know, like I said, emotions arise from the inside. So if you're depressed, it might be in response to an external event, but your depression is caused by your internal, you know, your internal choices. You chose to feel depressed. And that's not me negating the feeling or the experience of depression. That's just me keeping it real. You know, you chose to feel that way. And now it might be easy to feel that way because of the situation that's continued to perpetuate that. But you can also choose to be joyful, you know. And to me, joy it's not always being happy. Joyful just means you're able to smile without faking it, you know.
Why? How'd you get that?
Because, you know, to me, I feel like there's three of the greatest emotions that transcend emotions, you know, and that's peace, love, and joy. Because peace to me is just a state of calmness. It's a state of undisturbedness. You know, love is powerful, man. This is love. You know, love is an action. Love is a feeling. Love is a thought. You know, love is a way of being. And joy is the balance of happiness and sad. You know, you can go through a hard time and still laugh at a joke. You know, you can go through a hard time and still smile at the day like, that was funny, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the joy. It's not always being happy, man, because you're not going to be happy every day.
Napoleon Hill says that. He's like, if you're going to like laugh through a hard time, he's like, make sure you do it alone so people don't think you're crazy. Mm-hmm. He's like, because kind of like, whenever you're feeling the most shitty, like this is something I do. Like whenever I'm really like backed up in a corner, I actually make myself laugh to like remember that feeling.
Laughter is cure, man. Laughter is the cure for all ailments.
Associating myself with the feeling of laughter makes me feel good, makes me remember, I don't know, my family, a good time. A good joke, some ridiculous shit I saw online.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta go back into the brain and remember a past memory sometimes. Like, I can't believe that was happening.
Yeah, and it's like just these emotions are just associated with everything. And so therefore I kind of see like depression, it's like I said, it's kind of like you're victim or subject to your own thoughts. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I just don't like how, like, you know, how BetterHelp is online now and stuff. I just look at that and I'm like, it's too damn accessible. Because I look at it like this. Like, for example, my parents in Mexico didn't have anything. Mm-hmm. They were dirt poor. How to build a house, how to like what the resources they had, like the logs that they had. Mm-hmm. It was like palm trees or something like that, and build the roof too with like palm leaves. Mm-hmm. Literally like you see on Facebook or like, you know how they build those mud towers and stuff. Yeah, with sticks and stuff, like exactly like that. So there's a depression in that, but it's like just like you said, it's perspective. It's like you can be grateful that you at least have a home, and that you'll be covered tonight from the rain. It's not like they didn't went through depression. They did, but they used it in another way. And sometimes people tell me, well, they're ignoring their depression. It's kind of like during slavery too. Like, don't you think our grandfathers went through a whole bunch of depression, whole bunch of trauma?
And there's a science behind that, you know, like some of the passed down trauma that people experience is still in today, you know. So a lot of trauma that people are experiencing is due to past ancestral trauma and depression and anxiety. Really? Yeah, you know, it gets deep, man. It gets deep. And, I really wanted to expand on what you said about your parents. A lot of times during depression, you have to develop a skill. So now they have the skill of building a house out of their resources. They connect to nature. You're using the elements to, build shelter. And so although that might seem like a hard time, like a trying time, when you have houses out here that are so prevalent and beautiful and amazing, it's like I gotta build this. But it's like I get to build this. I built this with my bare hands. How many people can say they done that? It's like an attribute. It's like a skill. It's like something in you that can't nobody else do.
Yeah. It's like a way to connect exactly where you're living from.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's like, okay, like, no, you don't want to do that because the ground don't work like that here. You need to do this, use this.
It's kind, and then again, it's kind of also like how we pick our groceries out these days. It's kind of like, oh yeah, you want cereal? Sure, let me go get it.
Let me get this.
A Food Line, that's right there. That easy. But yet, whenever you actually like go back to kind of like planting your own crops, it's like seasons. You have to tend to it, wait for it to grow, wait for it to come up. But you can't eat it when it comes up. You have to also let it ripen.
Yep.
And all that, it's just like a beautiful transformation of like your energy into now your own food, and then you consume it again, and
and then you can compost it and put it right back into the soil, man. It's a cycle. Life is all cycles, man. That's all life is, And I think nature really is the best teacher because it teaches you love, it teaches you growth, it teaches you death, it teaches you patience, it teaches you anything and everything,
And it's just, I think we've just lost a touch, like going on nature. We've just lost a touch of nature, and the technology is not nature. It's like that's why so much depression exists, because we're just not connected to nature
at all, man. Like how many people is going outside just barefoot, soaking up some sun, eating something right out the garden, or at least eating something really fresh from like a farmer's market.
Or I would say, even if, like, let's say, like, just go to a forest.
Yeah.
Go hunting.
Yeah, I want to get a bow and arrow so bad.
No, and I actually have a friend that hunts.
Really?
Yeah, so he said he's willing to take me. So whenever I go, he's so connected with nature, but in a different way. But he was also telling me how kind of like hunters don't see their food as like, oh, I want to kill an animal, but it's also a cycle of how nature has to be. Like, that deer is going to have to know death. But that deer doesn't go to waste either. It goes to some nonprofit that needs food, or someone's going to eat it at the end of the day. And also it's population control. If not, then our ecosystem will be affected and stuff like that. But he was also saying that just stepping into the woods, you have no signal.
Yeah, you have no signal, man. You liable to get ate, And so I really like that perspective, because it like you said, in ancient times, animal was killed out of respect, and admiration, like, thank you for giving me your life. I appreciate you. No animal was wasted, and that's why I look at today, it's like, how have we fallen so far from that? People just throw away, I don't want this chicken no more, I'm done. I don't like this bear rug, never gonna sell it. We just killing animals for game, for sport, and that's the part that's crazy to me. If we still lived in times where it was killed out of respect, out of admiration, no part was wasted, we had the clothes of the animal on us. We used the elephant tucks as weapons, or as jewelry, as adornment. We respect the animal kingdom. We still live like that. I think the world would definitely be in a more harmonious state with nature.
Yeah, I think just that money has gotten in the way, and greed. Greed is one of those things too that that has led us to where we are now, and it's like money itself isn't the root of all evil. It's the love for money. That's the root of all evil. So it's kind of like,
100%.
that's where we're at. And Ashton and I I appreciate our conversation, dude. I think it's been really insightful, and anybody that's listening to it, hopefully, I mean, high school kids listen to it, because I mean,
tap in.
Yeah, you're only 17, but you have such an insight, man, already into what you want to do professionally. But I was talking to this about my mentor. It's kind of like you have, first it's your faith, family, and finance. Your faith is already, like, you are locked into your faith. Like, you are locked into your family. Now you're, like, looking for the third step, which is finance. And it's like, you're on the right tracks.
Thank you, man.
My friend.
I appreciate that.
So thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Anything you want to say before we head out?
Yeah, so on my podcast, it's called the 1% Better Podcast because, the book Atomic Habits talk about just being 1% better. And, the thing that we have is, leaving the people that watch with something to be 1% better. And today I would say practice acknowledging the seasons. I think you said that was prevalent for you. So let's double back to that, man. Just be aware of the cycles of life. Don't try to sow seeds in winter. Take time to recoup. Get back right for the fall, for the spring, and for the summer. Just really tap back in to the seasons and acknowledge the cycles of life, cycles of growth and cycles of decay. And, that's how you can be 1% better today.
Appreciate you, Ashton. And everybody, check out Ashton's podcast, 1% Better Every Day. And I like that book, Atomic Habits. Actually, that was one of the books I read it all through. And I like the fact that it just said, just like pick up that water bottle a day, then pick up that trash can, then pick up that thing. And throughout 30 days, you'll see the difference.
Yeah, just 1%, man. Just 1%. That's all it takes, man. The exponential growth at 365.
And it takes just you clicking on the video and learning something. So comment, like, subscribe, and anybody listening.
Check out this video, man. Share it with a friend and tell a friend.
So yes, sir. Catch y'all on the next one.
Peace.